When citizens register to vote during the regular registration period, local election boards have time to double-check a voter's address and make sure that person is allowed to cast a ballot. The same-day registration period begins 18 days out from Election Day and makes it much more difficult for those local boards to verify voters by the time the election is certified and all the votes are counted. Civitas elections analyst Susan Myrick says Civitas mailed surveys to two groups of voters to see how many would be returned as being a bad address. Myrick says the first surveys went to over 17,500 voters in 5 counties who registered at the end of the regular registration period.
That came out to be a 3% return rate. If you looked at a big election like 2008, when more than 200,000 people registered in the last 45 days, that could add up to around 6,000 pieces of undeliverable mail. Then we mailed out to the same-day registrants, which totaled a little over 5,000 in those 5 counties. And of those, we got 365 pieces back, which gave us a 7.3% undeliverable rate, which was twice that of those last-minute registrants. Now, that would total 14,000. We all know that President Obama won North Carolina in 2008 by 14,100 or so. Looking at the last-minute registrants, you can see why the legislators many years ago decided that we needed a 25-day deadline. We needed that deadline so that the local boards of elections could take the time to do the work that was needed to be done to verify those voters, to get them into the book properly registered so that they could come and vote on Election Day in the old days, and everything would be set up and ready for them.
Researchers investigated the surveys that were returned and found empty lots, companies that had closed down, and in one case a Google Earth view showed no building at all. Myrick says same-day registration was a bad idea because it treats people differently.
In 2007, this was a law that was applied to an already flawed system where we can find 112-year-olds on the rolls, and we know they're not 112-year-olds, but we know the State Board of Elections knows there's bad data there and refuses to clean it up.
There was a bill in the legislature last year to drop same-day registration, but it didn't pass. Myrick hopes it will come up again in the next session. I'm Matt Willoughby.